You may be a top or a bottom. In this episode, we're talking tops. We have Hans Coleman here with 5281, a step above inspection. And whether you're a buyer or a seller or a homeowner, we're going to get you some information about your roof and your attic. Thanks for being here.
Pleasure, pleasure.
Yeah. So, when we are on inspection, when you're inspecting a home, how do you safely inspect the roof?
The insurance companies would say you'd stay off of it. That's how you safely do it. However, I like using drones. Drone is a good way of safely inspecting a roof. You can see everything, take pictures of everything, and then view back on your computer later. Of course, make sure if you do use your ladder that it's connected to the roof correctly. It's actually leaned up against the gutters correctly. We're not going to mess with anybody. Nothing is going to hurt. And of course, the fact that you can get up and down on the ladder easily as well.
Now, when you say leaning it up against the gutters correctly, you just mean like straight on, right?
Yeah, just at a nice little angle to something that's not straight vertical, but of course it's not falling down either.
Yeah, you don't want it to be skewy.
Good word.
Thanks.
Good word.
Okay, so once you get your drone up in the air and you're looking at the roof, I know that you later go back to blow up the pictures and to look at the details, but just initially, kind of like what things are you looking for on the roof?
At Colorado, hail damage. Always hail damage. Any kind of granule loss. If the roof itself is blistering or waving, it kind of gives us some information on what's going on inside the attic, if it's ventilated correctly. And then, of course, just the ventilation itself. Where's the electrical wires come in? Is it a service mast or is it coming from underground? What's the plumbing vents doing? The main sewer line, and of course, all the sublines that come from bathrooms and kitchens. So yeah, we're looking at all that. Swamp coolers, if we have one up there as well.
That is a lot of stuff going on top of the roof.
That's what tops do. We work.
A lot of stuff. Okay, so hail damage, we're looking for little divots, right? What does granule loss look like?
You'll actually start seeing a little bit more of the fiberglass. A great way of saying it is on a sunny day, if you see something looking back at you, you know there's an issue or a problem because you're not really supposed to see any kind of reflection, and the fiberglass itself is a reflection that you'll be able to see off of the sun. But we're looking for that kind of stuff. We're making sure there's no fiberglass sticking out, and of course the granule loss. How much granules are in the gutters too? Like, is it super thick or is it just a little bit? A little bit is normal. It's okay. Wind, things like that will do that to you. But if it's like super thick, there's most likely a manufacturer's defect with the product.
Oh, I had no idea that you were looking for shingle granules I thought you were just looking for like leaves and little branches
That as well, yeah.
in the gutters.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Interesting.
Again, tops do it all.
So when you're looking at the roof, at what point is it just whenever you see any of those problems, that's when you recommend that we call in a roof person to come and look at it?
Yeah, because you'll want an expert to actually look at it, first of all. And secondly, you want a price bid on it as well. So most of those roofing companies, like roof brokers, they'll send out a few different people to actually look at the roof, and then they'll give you multiple bids on it. You kill two birds with one stone kind of a deal. But yeah, just for repairs. I mean, is it possible that we can do just repairs, or is it a full on replacement of the whole roof?
Mm-hmm. And one of the other things that we look at from my side at that point is, have there been any hailstorms at that address in the last 12 to 24 months? Because I know the roofers can look that up. They have systems they can look that up in, because it's possible that you could get the seller's insurance to pay for a new roof if it's that bad, if they have hail damage and there's been a storm. So that's something that we always look at. All right, moving away from the roof. So when we get into the attic and there's ventilation up there, can you talk a little bit about, I guess, how that whole system works?
Yeah, that's a difficult one. Okay. So roofs have multiple venting. They have gable vents, which are typically on a siding. Peak at the peak, there's little holes in they're called gable vents. Soffit vents are ones that are underneath the soffits themselves. Typically, so it'll look like a heating register or something like that from the outside of the house. You look up underneath the eave, and you'll see holes. That's a soffit vent. And then, of course, the roof vents themselves. Those big square things that you see that they're just in Colorado. They're just prominent. They're just everywhere, and that actually gets the air to move and eject out. Same with the soffit vents. When wind comes over, it creates a suction event, and actually sucks the air out of that area.
Hmm. And so, why is it important for a house to have proper ventilation?
That you're not wasting your energy, your heating bill, and you're not, when during the summertime, that you're not wasting your air conditioning bill. If you don't have proper insulation in the attic, say during the wintertime, everybody else in the neighborhood has 12 inches of snow on the roof, but you don't. There's an issue with your house. There's probably some kind of an issue in the attic itself, that poor insulation, most likely.
Right, yeah, because we know that heat rises, and so if you have enough and proper insulation in the attic, then that's kind of a barrier for the heat. But at the same time, you still want to have that airflow
Yeah.
coming through those vents that you described
Right.
earlier.
Yep.
Um, and one of the things that gets pointed out sometimes is if any of those vents have holes or they're not, because we want it to be a vent for air, but we don't want critters getting in.
Yeah.
So I know that's something we see sometimes too. Like if you see a hole where there's supposed to be a vent and it's not vented, if it's big enough for little animals to get into, you definitely want to cover that up, but not cover it up in a way that's blocking airflow.
Yeah, definitely. There's screens that
Mhm.
people will staple. That's most likely for those gable vents that I was telling you about. They'll put a screen on the inside of the attic just to make sure that nothing can come in.
Mhm.
Great place to. That's most likely because you have a bad screen. Is most likely the reason why you might have squirrels in your attic or mice or something like that.
I'm just now thinking about squirrels running around in the attic. Squirrel. So when we talk about insulation in an attic, what do you recommend for a home in Colorado as far as like the type and the thickness or all the things that go along with insulation?
Yeah, so in Colorado, we want a resistance value. That's the R value of the house, resistance, of at least 35. What essentially that means is every material that you have that goes into the attic as insulation has a resistance value or an R value per inch. Typically, fiberglass is 3.75. Don't quote me on these numbers, but I think fiberglass is 3.75 for 1 inch. Cellulose, I believe, is 3.85 or something like that for cellulose, which is essentially just ground up newspaper,
Mm,
the shredded people. Yeah. So yeah, and then they'll put that in the attic. So in Colorado, minimum of R35. So it would be 12 to 15 inches of fiberglass insulation will get you your 35. Again, depending on what insulation you use.
okay. Um, let's talk about leaks.
Mm.
So, roofs are a big ticket item on a house. What are some telltale signs that there have been leaks in the roof?
Uh, if you're in your bedroom and you look up and there's water dripping on your forehead, that's a good sign. At that point, that's a good sign that we know that you have an issue.
What does it look like?
Unfortunately, that's usually when it's found, is when you do have a problem, when you do actually have something dripping on somebody or you start seeing staining. That's when usually typically the first time, because nobody goes in their attic on a regular basis.
Right.
So that's going to be the first thing that you're going to know or find out.
Well, and you can also, if you're looking at the ceiling and it's not an active leak, but you can tell that there had been a leak. It kind of is like I don't know, what do you think?
It,
Like a yellowy brown
yeah,
little stain.
discolored,
Yeah.
and even more if they try and fix it because they'll never be able to blend the textures together 100% perfectly. So when you look at an angle, you can kind of see that this place has been shaved down and sanded a little bit in comparison to this place and this place. So yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So from my side, when we've got buyers and we're looking through things in the inspection period, If I saw a stain like that, I would be looking for something on the seller's property disclosure
Sure.
that indicates, the seller saying, "Oh yeah, there was a leak here and this is what we did to fix it." And of course you're not always going to get that, and sometimes they don't know. So then at that point it kind of becomes a buyer beware.
Yeah.
But can you go up in the attic and kind of see if it's not raining and you go up in the attic, can you see a leak before it gets down to the ceiling?
Yeah, an inspector can use a thermal camera,
Oh.
and the thermal camera will actually be because water's typically cold, so it'll turn that area blue and purple as this moisture. So, like, the insulation is trapping in your heat, so you have red for the insulation, then you have this weird purple spot in the middle of the ceiling. We know that there's an issue there.
Okay.
Something's going on there, and usually it's water. Depends on how it goes. If it's a perfect square, it's insulation. If it's a random circle, it's a leak somewhere. Yeah.
Okay. What else? Is there anything that we haven't covered that either you look for at an inspection or that you would recommend to a homeowner in terms of their roof and their attic and just like the general health of it? Like, should they be looking at things annually or what do you recommend?
And yeah, if you want to stick your head up in there at least once a year, smell is a big thing. You want to smell because we can smell. I know it's weird, but we can smell water.
Okay.
Because we're so dry here in Colorado, right? So when we have humidity issues, we can smell it, we feel it, we know that there's something wrong. It's strange. It makes you talk funny, kind of like I'm doing right now. It makes you talk funny because I'm thinking about it. So I know that there's an issue or a problem, but yeah, you can tell, and of course, keep your eyes on your ceilings every once in a while, and well, still looks good. Yeah, cool. Yeah.
Okay. Good. Well, all right. So, Hans, fact or fiction? If the roof is not leaking, it's in good shape.
Fiction, 100% fiction. There's so many issues, other issues that you can have with the roof, just not a leak. There could be tons of issues, hail damage, blowing away shingles, things like that. I mean, yeah,
Grit loss.
grit loss is big. So yeah,
All right, so today we've been talking about roofs and attics with our local home expert, Hans Coleman, with 5281, a step above inspection. Thanks so much for being here today, Hans. Thanks.
my pleasure. My pleasure.
If you like this content and want to support the channel, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go.